Hi there, my name is Christine. I'm a demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I'm making this video to show you a couple of different techniques to use with our new decorative masks, the butterfly and flowers decorative masks. So there are 6 masks in this, and it's a great value. It's only $13.50. Move these so you can see a bit better. So this one paired together makes the most beautiful flowers. That is going to be on my Facebook Live on Tuesday. What's the date on Tuesday? The 15th of February. So check out my Facebook page to see how I've put these together. There's these beautiful butterflies. I haven't had a chance to experiment with these yet. That'll be another video. We've got this flowers and leaves pattern, which I suspect is going to go with these flowers. I think they all layer beautifully. So the tip is to start with your lightest color and then bring in the dark. So you would start light, put this on top, and bring in your dark to get that contrast. So that'll be another video because it's such a fun technique. We're going to use this one today with that. I'll show you one of the ones I did with this one. I think that's lovely. And the other one I will bring in when we're ready to use it. We're going to do 2 different techniques today. So setting that aside, let's get cracking. So I'm going to do it in this orientation because I want my paper to fit within the mask. So I'm just placing it on top, and we're going to use the blender brush for this one. There is a symmetry to this pattern, so I am going to try to keep it somewhat lined up. There we go. Now you have an option here. You can use washi tape or sticky notes, just something to stick it down that's not going to tear the paper. I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to be stubborn. So we don't need this mask, but it is dirty, so I'll just set it aside. I should say too, to clean these masks, it is so easy. You just run them underwater because we're using our water-based inks with them, so it comes right off. So I'm using Mango Melody, So Saffron, and I'm going to use Daffodil Delight. But I wanted to show you this trick that I've found. Notice I've got a stripe of color here. So at the back of your stamp pad, you've got 5 stripes with writing in each language on what the color is that you're to put on your stamp pad so that you know which is which, right? So the one that doesn't have any writing, I've been sticking it to the inside of my ink pads. So I put like the one with the writing in English or French on the front. But then when you open your ink pad, I'm going to put this down so I don't stick my fingers in it. Yeah, I just put down stripe. I've been doing them gradually. I started doing this recently. So it just makes it easy when they're open to see what color's which. And in this case, I want to do it this way. So I'm using my blender brush. And I'm going to go from light to dark. So what I'm doing is I'm just sticking my brush in my, and because I'm using the same color palette, if you will, I'm starting from lightest to darkest. I'm not too concerned about having, I'm not going to clean my brush in between. I'm just going to go from one to the other. And you'll see that I'm just rubbing it across the pattern. So I'm being careful not to move my mask around. I would not recommend doing this with a really open lined mask because I think your mask would move and that kind of wrecks the effect that you're going for. So we'll do that. Then I'm going to go to the Daffodil Delight, which is a little bit darker. I'm just going to excuse my arm there. I just really want to make sure this doesn't move. So you can see I'm just picking up ink by soaking it in tapping it into the ink pad. And then we're going to move to the Mango Melody. One of my current favorite colors right now. I go through little phases. I think it's just that I'm really looking forward to spring. It is minus 22 Celsius in Canada's fair capital today. So I'll be staying in and crafting. All right, so I'm just going to put the ink pads away because I don't need them right now. Can't wait to show this to you. It's so pretty. All right. So there we go. Isn't that cool? So I've gone from light down to dark. I'm not going to make a card with this one. I'm going to show you the other one I made. So this was using that daisy pattern. And we are going to make a card with that one. So I've got a stripe of white here that we're going to stamp onto. This is Mango Melody. That'll end up behind our layer. So it just makes the most pretty backgrounds, right? Like you could even just, you know, put a sentiment on that. Maybe some sparkles and you have a card. But we're going to do something else too. And this is my card base is Whisper. No, it's not Whisper White. It is Basic White, thick. I like to use the thick cardstocks for my card bases. And I like when I can fold it properly too. Here we go. So I'm just using my bone folder to make that line crisp. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to play with today was the Hello Ladybug bundle. So it's a stamp set that coordinates with a punch. And I'd like to point out that February is celebration, right? So for every $60 Canadian you spend before tax and shipping, you can choose a free item from the celebration brochure. So for instance, if you were to get the decorative masks and the Ladybug bundle, you're at $57.50, right? So you're only a couple dollars away from getting that free item. So always think about that if you're doing some shopping at this time, so that you get to take advantage of all the freebies. I'm all about the freebies. So the Ladybug, excuse me, I'm just gonna make a little noise. Our Ladybug stamp set is has some stamps that are two-step stamps, meaning that you need 2 stamps to build your image. So we're gonna start with our little Ladybug over here with the black. This Ladybug is adorable. In fact, I can hardly ever choose between the punch and the stamp set when I'm making the bugs because they're just so cute. If you ever find that you're not getting a super clear impression and you know that your ink pad is inky, try stamping on an old mouse pad. And that'll help you get that cushioning to get a clearer impression. There we go. Isn't that adorable? Our little bug. And then I mentioned it was a 2-step, so we're going to add the color to her. I mean, you could use markers or coloring pencils to color that in, or you can use the other stamp that layers on top. Hoping, yes, I'm still within the image. Okay. And the nice thing about the see-through stamps is that you can then line that up where you want it and press down. It's a lot easier to do when you can get over top of your image, which is not where I'm at. There we go. Sometimes too, if you find you've missed a little gap and it's bothering you, I've got the markers that are the same color as the ink, right? Stampin' Up! Products always coordinate. So you could take your Stampin' Blends or your Stampin' Write markers and just fill in that. There's a teeny little white mark there, but I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so we've got that. And we just need a little sentiment on this, which I'm undecided. Isn't that cute? Where do we want our little sentiment? Maybe just, I'm going to use the teeny tiny little hello, and then it doesn't take up much space, and we've got a sentiment. There we go. And the one thing I did not take out before starting my video is the some embellishments. So just bear with me. I'm going to go into my embellishment tin. And I know which ones I want. I just forgot to take them out. Excuse the sound. There they are. So these are the Artistic Artistry Blooms gems, and they're sticky. And I have 4 different colors, one of which is Mango Melody. Just that one. Or is it this one? Oh, I'm not sure anymore. One's Calypso Coral and one is Mango Melody. I will use the mango. So we'll just assemble the card. And excuse the reach. I like to use liquid glue when I'm building layers because it allows me to just move things ever so slightly to get them where I want them. So my card base is 5.5 by 4 1/4 once folded. So this layer is 5 1/4 by 4, right? Just a 1/4 inch smaller in each direction. And my white layer that I did my background on with my mask is 5 by 3 3/4. So again, another 1/4 smaller in each direction. And it just adds, it just makes it kind of pleasing to the eye with the kind of symmetrical. No, symmetrical is not the right word. It's just yeah. We'll stop there. And excuse the reach. I need my dimensionals. There we go. So I'm going to pop this piece up. So I don't have a lot of embellishment going on with this card, and I'm doing that on purpose because I really want that background to shine. And I'm a big fan of dimensionals. I just want to make sure I'm staying on camera here. Otherwise, it's not much fun to watch, is it? And there's a really cute cute stamp in this set that says "You can bug me anytime," which I think is just adorable with the ladybugs. And I just like to add a teeny bit of sparkle to kind of draw the eye around the card a bit. So that is our first one with the ladybugs and the mask background. So the other one we're going to make is a little messier. So, oops. Just going to make a little bit of room here. All right, so this is kind of vines, right? So I'm using soft sea foam as my card base. And you'll notice that I do have washi tape on this one holding it. So I'm just going to position my paper under here and tuck it underneath that washi tape. Okay. So this one I'm doing slightly differently. What we're using is the Spritzer Bottles. This one's just got water in it and I don't remember why, so we're not using it today. This one, I actually, instead of putting water, I put rubbing alcohol in it. And the reason for that is I wanted to dry fast. Water works great as well. And then to make it green, I've added Garden Green re-inker. So re-inkers are $5 each. They're really meant to re-ink your ink pads, which means that you can get like years and years and years out of your ink pads if you take care of the ink pad and just re-ink. But it's also neat that you can use it to do other effects. So this is alcohol and 5 drops of Garden Green. Oops, don't want to undo it. I just want to take the top off. There we go. So it's just a spritzer bottle, nothing fancy. And you're just spritzing it on. So the key is not to move this around, right? Because you don't want the this to get underneath it. You want it to stay on top of your mask so that you have a nice image. Now, if you find you have it, if it's too wet, you can use a paper towel, which I did not have handy. You can use a paper towel to just re-ink, not re-ink, dab a little bit. I'm being very careful not to move the mask. And you can do this as well if you want to make it a little bit darker. I'm not taking it off. I really don't want to disrupt the pattern, so I'm not taking it off, but I am going to add a bit more spritz to darken it up. So there is a bit of dry time when you're doing this technique, right? And you want to make sure that your area is clear of other things that you don't want to get spritzed. Which I think I might have gotten some on my, we'll find out in a minute, on the other one that I did. All right, and moment of truth. We're just gonna liberate that other piece of paper. So you might have noticed, there we go. So this mask, the stripes are not connected. So I would not recommend using your brush technique on this. Sponge daubers you could use, or a sponge, but you'd have to be super careful not to move your stripes because they're not attached to each other. So that's where the two that I was showing you earlier are pretty solid. Like this stuff doesn't really move around because it's got so many connection points. So that's where using your brush or something you're going to be going over with is a lot easier with an image that's more solid. Whereas this being really, the word's not flimsy, it's just that it's not connected to each other. So that's where spritzing works out really well because it just, you're not touching it. You're just spritzing the ink on top and it's just going, except for where there's coverage, right? So it looks pretty cool. So I'll set that aside and I'll use the one I've already made to allow for that dry time. So this is one I made earlier. Isn't that pretty? So it does a nice little vine, and I'm just going to look at this for fun. And I did not get any spritz on it. Oh, maybe just a tiny bit. Oh, totally salvageable. So soft seafoam is our cardstock. For the card base, I'm also using soft seafoam. So this is 4 1/4 by 11. And I've scored it at 5 1/2. So it is a regular size card. And when we assemble it, it'll be tone on tone, which I like. So, and the garden green itself is a bit darker than this, as you can see from the sticker here, but mixed in, you know, it's quite diluted with the alcohol. So this is what we got. You can add more ink drops, re-inker drops to your water or your alcohol and have it darker. It's just playing around and seeing what effect you're going for. So we're going to make ladybugs again, but we're going to use the punch this time. And I'm going to make 2. So I'm not lining up an image. I'm just making sure that I haven't got any, that I've got coverage everywhere. So I'm just pressing down halfway. I've got my paper where I want it and punching through. There we go. So those are our bodies. We're going to do the same for the wings. So this is the Ladybug Builder Punch, if you're not familiar with it. Woo. Those extra little bits can fly. All right, so the only thing we're missing on our little ladybug is those black marks, right, for her, for the spots on the wings. So we're going to go get those. There's a stamp for that. So I'll get those nice and inked up. There's one. too. So before I will assemble our ladybugs, and then there's something else I want to do to this background. So the ladybugs are super simple to assemble. You can curl their wings a bit if you like. I really like to do that. And it just gives them a little bit of 3D. So I'm just using my bone folder to do that, just to give them a little bit of dimension. And I'm just going to use regular glue to put those down. And because I've curled those wings, I don't want to put glue everywhere. I'm just going to kind of put it at the, I don't know, I guess we could call it the collar. So just layering that, pressing for a moment. So you've got one little ladybug. So it's a different look than using the stamped ladybugs, but equally cute, I think. So the other thing I wanted to do is there's this really pretty flower punch here, not punch, stamp. So we're going to add some flowers to our vines. And I was noticing that the contact isn't amazing there, so I'm just gonna pull up my fabulous dollar store mouse pad. And hopefully you'll be able to see the difference. So it just adds a bit of cushioning, you know, kind of like how the red rubber stamps have that foam layer built in. The clear stamps don't have that, right? It's just the photopolymers. So I find this just brightens it a bit. And I'm attempting to rotate the stamp a little bit so that it's not just the same image over and over. I don't know how successful I've been at doing that, but anyway. There we go. So the Calypso Coral is the color I've been using, and it's bright enough that over top of the soft sea foam and the spritzed color, it still is bold enough that it pops. So that's good. And we need a sentiment for this one. And we've got our little ladybugs. So I'm actually going to use the You Can Bug Me Anytime because I find it so cute. I just need a scrap of paper that I had. It's gone missing. Oh, I know. I don't know about you, but I've always, oh, here it is. No, that's not it. I've always got a bag of scraps, and I keep them by color. So this is my bag of white scraps, and I don't need a very thick piece. I'm just rustling around. There we go. It's about a 1/2 inch. All right, and we want to use You Can Bug Me Anytime. Which I'll put there. And I'll just use the black ink for that. There we go. Oops. And I'm just going to cut that on an angle for a little bit of interest. I'll stick that over here. And I'll bring in our dimensionals. I should probably have glued my layers together before doing the dimensionals, but I didn't, so so we'll improvise. Just a little bit easier when you're dealing with a flat card, but anyhow. This will work just fine. And I will glue that down. There we go. And you'll notice I've always got 2 glues on the go. One I've got one for facing each direction, so I don't have to wait for the glue to make its way from one end to the other. That's just me being impatient. And here we go. So that is our second card with the decorative masks as backgrounds. Isn't that cute? It's a little different, a little bit of fun. So let me know if you have any questions on those, and I will be making other videos with the sponging technique for how to use the masks. And tune into my Facebook Live on Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock to see that. But I'll also upload it to here, I think, as well, just so that it's easy to find. And thank you for watching.